Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Zach, aka Keats39, here to break down the Steelers Ravens Showdown slate. This is a game that's been pushed back almost a full week due to the crazy amount of COVID issues. So it's going to be a really interesting slate. A lot of guys that normally play for Baltimore that you're not going to get to see any of. So it's going to be a kind of a GPP type slate. But with that said, there are some options that are definitely better than others. Going to start out just going with the Pittsburgh side. I'm going to go team by team, listing my favorite plays. Starting with Pittsburgh, Ben Roethlisberger going to have the highest floor slash highest ceiling, more than likely. Maybe not highest ceiling actually in this game, but he's been really consistent all year. Pittsburgh wants to throw the ball. Don't see why that'd change now. Especially their run game has really struggled. Now missing top running back James Conner. Last time against Baltimore, put up 15 DK. I think that's a very fair score, and I expect something close to that again. I live in the area. Shouldn't snow, but got a decent amount of snow today. It's going to be cold again tomorrow. So definitely will play somewhat of a factor. Don't expect it just to clear up or anything like that. So now with Ben Roethlisberger, you have the three-headed trio of Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Deciding on these three is tough. Honestly, every week, like all three of them play such a big role. Chase Claypool has like the big play type guy. Deontay is honestly the go-to receiver, and Juju Smith-Schuster is kind of like the chains mover. Looking back at last game, Deontay Johnson was a no-show. Chase Claypool scored and was the best of the three. And to me, Juju Smith-Schuster played his best game all year. It wasn't his best statistically, but like watching that game, he was awesome. And he gets the toughest matchup with Marlon Humphrey here. So he's probably my least favorite of the three. But even with that said, this is like a choppy, you're not going to see too many big plays at all in this one. And that, like, those short plays really favor Juju, even in the tough matchup, which is why he had success last game. I don't expect a no-show from Deontay Johnson again, so that's kind of why I don't expect as good of a game from Juju. Deontay probably has the best matchup. Jimmy Smith is questionable. I don't think he would have played if the game was on Sunday. I haven't seen they haven't been practicing or anything really, so it's hard to gauge whether he'll play tomorrow. He's listed as questionable. Either way, I think Deontay really has a good matchup here. And same goes for Chase Claypool, who Marcus Peters, who everyone knows and thinks he's like some really good corner. He's been actually better than years past in this department, but he does give up big plays. Like he wants a big play, which costs him big plays. So it'll be interesting to see. I think I rank them Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster, like in that order. But say like you really love your lineup and you have 9.6K and you can't get up to one of those other two, and you already have one of them. Like I have no issues just going with Juju. I really like Juju when he was on the Thanksgiving slate and he costed 7.6, but he got a 2K price increase, so it kind of stinks. But I have no issues playing any of the three. I'll definitely have two of the three. I'd rather have two of them than playing Ben, I think. Even though it's probably, Ben obviously is safer, but I just like the floor. I think that they all have good floors, good upside. So now, after that, you go down to the running backs for Pittsburgh, and this is going to be kind of tough. I think I am not the biggest Benny Snell guy. Watching him, I don't think he's slow. Just doesn't. He would have been a good running back 10 years ago. However, with that being said, Baltimore really banged up, and Steelers has a 10-point favorite. I think it's you kind of have to consider him. No Calais Campbell, which I think is the most important part of this Baltimore defense. That dude's an animal. even with all the other, they're filled with studs on defense. But I think he's the one gets after the passer and stuffs the run the best. Um, so you definitely have to consider Benny Snell. We've seen him have one game where James Conner was hurt, and that was the first one, and he had a really good game. So definitely have to consider him. But in my honestly, right now I have him in my cash lineup. That's subject to change, but I think that Anthony McFarland has a really good chance to Steelers drafted him in, I believe, the fourth round. And I think that they want this guy to be good. He is really athletic. From what I've seen so far, he's kind of struggled reading holes, which is like normal for a rookie. But if that say this game's neutral and the Steelers have I expect McFarland to play third downs unless they do this where they do go 5 wideouts a decent amount, and let Ray McLeod get some reps, and I wouldn't be surprised he could even see a third down back roll. I would not be shocked about that at all. But I do think Anthony McFarland at 2.6 probably has the highest upside of any of the cheap guys. I could just see him just outperforming Benny Snell and getting more touches. And I could also see, say this game's actually closer than expected, which I think is very possible. Pittsburgh is just a really good rivalry, and I don't really expect this to be some sort of blowout, even with all the injuries. I think that Baltimore will play them tough because they still have a solid defense, even with the guys missing. So I think that Anthony McFarland could definitely put up 15 points. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened at all. Especially Ben likes checking it down. He's not afraid to. Especially in a game like this where he's going to see a pass rush still. Even with no Calais Campbell, they still have good guys. But with the no running backs, I also think that James Washington could actually see a bigger role, which is weird. But like I just said, 5 wide receiver sets is going to be a thing. He's GPP because I'd rather play the kickers in cash 100%. But when James Washington gets reps, they love throwing him double moves. Ben loves doing it. So wouldn't be so if you see him score a touchdown, don't be surprised at all. It's pretty much Eric Ebron, guy that I think Ben loves targeting him in the red zone. Baltimore average against tight ends. Last game he had 5 for 50 and a touchdown. Kind of a tough price range. I'd rather try to go up and get one of the wide receivers or Benny Snell. But I think he's a touchdown machine. He's a red zone machine. I think he probably gets a little hurt by Vance McDonald coming back, which he's in play as a punt at 400. He's going to see snaps and could obviously score. I'm not going to go there. I'd rather just get up to McFarland or even Ray McLeod. I think he's he'll get engineered a few touches. But yeah, I think I'd definitely rather prefer one of those other guys. But I guess I have to mention. Actually, don't have they're one of the top plays is Pittsburgh's defense. Baltimore is missing some linemen. Obviously missing Lamar Jackson. RG3 is not what he was his rookie year. Especially Steelers are not really happy with how this whole Baltimore game has been handled. So I think they're going to come out angry. I could see Steelers defense putting up 20 points, honestly. The fact that so my lineup right now I have 8,400 and it's I'm not playing RG3 or Steelers defense. I'm kind of leaning Steelers defense, which I would never thought I'd consider a defense over a quarterback, especially a rushing quarterback. But yeah, Steelers defense, even at 7.8K, they're very much in play. And honestly, they might make my cash lineup. So over to the Baltimore side of the ball, they are really in shambles, and it's really hard to decide right now because of the whole Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins situation. If J.K. Dobbins is in, he's one of my favorite plays on the slate, as crazy as that is. The Steelers have kind of struggled against the run since losing Devin Bush. And if you saw last game when Mark Ingram missed, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards ran all over the Steelers. Um, and as a game that, as a 10-point underdog, we saw last game when Baltimore was trailing to Tennessee. It was just a J.K. Dobbins show, and it should be that. Like, he's by far their best talent. They will put high draft stock into him, and like he's looked the part when he's got his chance this year. He looks like he's going to be really, really good. As a guy that plays in several dynasty leagues, I would look to target him. Um, but it's hard to like if both of those guys end up missing. I had like Gus Edwards is one of the better plays on the slate. I think he's going to see 25 to 30 touches. Um, let me plug my Mac in quick. Apologies for that. But yeah, 6.2K. Like he honestly will probably see 25 to 30 touches. But even so, with that, I also think that if both those guys miss, you have Justice Hill is a guy that I have a lot of interest in as well. He's more of the pass catcher type. So if it's just him and Gus Edwards and this 10-point spread like is a real thing, you'll see a lot of Justice Hill, and he's really cheap. Like him versus Andy McFarland, really, really. 8.4 is like the cheapest I've ever seen a quarterback on a showdown slate. Sorry, my computer froze there for a second. But yeah, RG3, 8.4K is the lowest I've seen, and I still struggle to consider him. He's not as athletic as he once was. Missing linemen, wide receiver corpse is dust. Marquise Brown has upside, but I don't really like him. Steelers are really good against wide receivers. No Mark Andrews. No Nick Boyle, who's their second tight end. So I could see one of these tight ends possibly paying off. Jarrell Adams is a really athletic tight end. If he were to get a start, I'd consider him at 200. Eric Tomlinson is a blocker, not any good. He's been in the league for a little bit, never done anything very good. Yeah, it's really hard just to consider. Like Des Bryant, I wanted to have interest in him, but it's really hard to at 4.8 in this type of matchup. So yeah, for Baltimore, I think RG3 is in play, but then it's one of the running backs are bust. I think let's say that both Ingram and Dobbins are both active. I think that I think that Dobbins is in play. Other guys are tough to play. I think that Gus Edwards would slightly have a possibility of being in play, but it's 6.2. I wouldn't want him. If just Dobbins is in, I think that he is one of the top plays on the slate. If both those two miss, I think that both Gus Edwards and Justice Hill are top plays on the slate. And then all the other guys are just GPP. I think that Devin DuVernay, he has a really interesting profile. I think he has a chance to always bust off a big play with no Willie Snead. I think he'll get more snaps, but probably not too. I don't know. I don't see them having much success throwing the ball. I think they're going to try to pound it. I don't think they're going to have much success with it. So, really, really tough to consider any of them. I'm going to make sure I didn't miss anyone. Miles Boykin probably sees a couple extra snaps with this need, but I don't really have interest. Same with James Prochet. Yeah, so on this slate, it's going to be at least a 4-2 Steelers favorite for me in my lineups, maybe even 5-1, which is what I currently have right now. Really, yeah, I'm going to play, or I forgot to mention Justin Tucker and Chris Boswell. I kind of mentioned him earlier, but there's a very good chance that Justin Tucker is my one Ravens play, just because if they ever happen to get in the red zone from 50 yards out, he's definitely possible of. Actually, he's pretty much a lock to make it. That dude's incredible. And with Chris Boswell, I think that Steelers will have enough opportunities to score. He'll see some points. But I'll probably end up with one of the cheap running backs, whether it's McFarland or Justice Hill, if the other two running backs are out. So, yeah, going to be an interesting slate. I'm loading up on Steelers 4-2 or 5-1. Probably going to be an important slate for your captain choice. It's going to be interesting. I don't know what I'm going to do at the captain yet. It's kind of what I'm deciding. Like, part of me wants to get Benny Snell just because of the flow, but I think the McFarland factor scares me a little bit. Um, but I think that I think Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson have the highest upside. Um, but like all three of the receivers are solid in play. Plus they're playing with a lead. There's a chance that those two guys like don't have those massive games. So it's going to be really interesting. I think that captain's going to be important. Um, so yeah, as always, hit the like and subscribe button. All me and all of the coaches will be around to help for the showdown. Weird start time at 3:40. Looking forward to it. Later.